Ladies and gentlemen, feds and degenerates, cuckolds of all ages, it's that time. Once again, it's time for Mild's Culture Plate. I am your host, Mild Kevin Miles, and it is Wednesday, August 28th, 2024, almost 6 p.m. Sorry, went live a little early today. And you're locked in for a good show. Welcome and thank you. Not going to be drinking whiskey again tonight. In fact, I don't know if I'm going to let whiskey return to the show. Maybe for some specials. Maybe if we do a debate stream, maybe if we do streams about the town halls or whatever. Um, so yeah, tomorrow night, apparently there's this Kamala Harris, Tim Walz thing on CNN. I don't think I'm gonna cover that live. I could be convinced. Anyway, if you any of you folks in chat, as always, come in, say hello. I'll say hello back, show your messages on screen, all that good stuff. And we'll have a good little community conversation here while we do the show. That's how we roll here at Mild's Culture Plate. So yeah, come on in, say hello. Um, but yeah, I don't think I'm gonna stream tomorrow night. I could be possibly convinced to. Not quite sure how that's gonna play out, but I kind of owe you guys a couple of bonus streams. But as of right now, sorry, getting interesting notifications on my watch here. Um, as of right now, yeah, I don't necessarily plan on doing that because I don't think it's gonna have much substance. I think this is gonna be another instance where there's predetermined talking points. This is gonna be packaged like a motherfucker. And I don't think we're gonna get anything honest and true or off the cuff. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, heck, I'll cover that on Saturday. So yeah, come on in, say hello, join me. Today's show, we're just kind of bullshitting. I do have some news stories and some viral clips I'll show, but not nearly enough to fill the whole hour. But I did want to kind of talk a little bit because last week I talked real heavily about what's been going on with me, what my plans are, ways in which my life has changed over the recent months. And quite frankly, you know, when I came to do the show tonight, I was like, should I cancel the show? I really was thinking about canceling the show because after scrolling through news feeds and my Twitter feed and so many other things, there's just nothing that interested me to talk about. And then I'm like, well, no, I should talk about that. I should literally talk about how more interested I am in the real world. Because I've been definitely guilty, as most of us are, and I don't want anybody to take this as a critique that y'all spend too much time on the internet. I don't. I'm not making accusations against anyone else. I'm just saying this is something I noticed about myself. I was terminally online for a long time, and it really took me getting out of the house and seeing the good and the bad. Right, and I talked a lot about that on my last stream, and quite frankly, I did see some of the bad too. But, the more and more I've been thinking lately, we get constantly criticized, conservatives, libertarians, Republicans, for being the party of bigots, right? And I think honestly that's not true. I think that a lot of conservatives are like me and like to perhaps overanalyze uh, the ways in which the differences between humans come together and try to reach into the humanity of other people and see them for humans. I could be wrong. Y'all could be bigots. I don't care. That's not my concern. My concern is that as I keep thinking about this election, as I keep thinking about the news cycle, as I keep thinking about the crap I see on Twitter, it really is this situation where we're funneled by neat media narratives and by algorithms to content that is intended to make us look at other human beings like they're so different from us that we cannot find a commonality. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of people out there who are just shitbags, who are just scumbags, who you can't find common ground with. If somebody's threatening you, and I just watched a video a little bit ago about a business owner who was approached by a group of people and he had to pull out a weapon in order to defend himself from that group of people who started, punching him, and then he pulled out a gun and they ran off. Uh, do I have that? I don't know if I have that. Nope, I don't have that. But, it's out there on Twitter. Hashtag trust me, bro. Sometimes there are groups of people who you have to defend yourself. And yeah, maybe they are different from you in a lot of ways. But ultimately, most of us love our children. Most of us want to provide resources for our families, our loved ones. Most of us want to see our friends and family do well, even if we have disagreements on how that comes about. And I would say that even Democrats, even as bad as the Democrat Party is on policy, I would say your average Democrat wants to see America do better. The problem is we are indoctrinated by this constant fear-mongering fear tactic that everyone around us is the enemy. Never once stopping to ask ourselves, Hans, are we the baddies? We, you know, we need to do so from a place of humility and not self-righteousness. Because yeah, you can have all the good positions and good intentions in the world, and you can have the right opinions, but if you can't hear what the other people are saying, that's an issue. And I've had that issue. I'm worried more about what separates us than what binds us. Right? We see each other as white and black, Republican, Democrat, man, woman, instead of looking at the person in front of us and saying, this is another person who has a full-time job, who has to buy groceries, who has to feed their children. I don't want to see them hurt by violence. I don't want to see them go through shit. Right? And we get our little pet peeve issues, right? We become Republican, Democrat. We get reinforced through our own individual traumas, which could be far different life experiences. And look, I know I sound real leftist right now when I'm saying this. I'm not saying your life experience throws all uh, political science out the window. I'm not saying life experience throws all philosophy out the window. But you have to understand that when people face unfairness, and life is not fair. But when people face unfairness, all too often they become hyper focused on whatever the opposite of that is. Like, I was treated unfairly because of X, Y, and Z. I want to go completely away from X, Y, and Z, and we need to implement A, B, and C. And it's hard to just tell them, no, you're wrong. Life is an unfortunate thing. luck is an unfortunate thing, and bad shit happens to people every day, and I'm sorry this bad thing happened to you, but you have to look at the bigger picture. I don't wanna see other victims like you were, but the medicine is worse than the disease. The solutions that are being offered are worse than the diseases, are worse than the ailments of our society. Now, having said that, look, I'm a socially awkward dude, right? I spend a lot of time thinking about how to relate to people. I'm a very unrelatable guy. I'm a very introverted, very shy, socially awkward kind of dude. You might not know it from the way I present myself on the show, but I'm weird. You know, when Kamala Harris and Tim Walz calls JD Vance weird, well, okay, I kind of empathize because I'm a little weird myself, and I don't mind it because, quite frankly, one of the reasons I do this show is I look at the society around me. I look at our culture. I look at Instagram. I look at TikTok. I see content creators like Mr. Beast, and I'm like, I don't want to do that type of content. I'm not a package to be opened. I'm a human being with emotions, feelings, values. Most people who are quote unquote popular, who are quote unquote liked, and again, I don't want to make this nerds versus the popular, but most people in these collectivist settings have to put on the politician face, so to speak. They have to act a little bit. They have to amp up their personality. I can't do that. I do that a little bit on this show just for what it is. I try to be a little entertaining. Hopefully, I'm a little entertaining to you folks. Judging by my dwindling viewership, probably not. But that's not the point. The point is, right now we're in the middle. We're getting ready to go into Labor Day weekend. And across this entire country, there are different fairs, festivals. It's festival season, folks. It's fair season. There's state fairs, county fairs, Renaissance fairs, ethnic festivals. Get out of your house. Just do me that favor. Just get out of the house. Go to just take $10. Don't give that $10 to me in a super chat. Take that $10. Go to a local festival. Buy yourself a big turkey leg or funnel cake or something and just sit and watch children play. Not like a pervert would, but just sit and appreciate humanity a little bit. Appreciate people coming together for joyous occasions. Because look, I'm not going to lie. When this election happens, there are going to be a lot of unhappy people, right? We don't know what the geopolitical ramifications are. We could wind up in war. We could have a worse economic depression. A lot of bad shit can happen in the next few months. I think it's important that everyone out there just goes out to a big crowded place. Look, I'm an introvert. I hate big crowds. I hate big crowds with a passion. But go to the big crowd, find an out of the way spot and just sit and watch people. Watch the emotions on their face. Watch the ways in which they talk to each other. Anyway, this might be a little too much projection, right? This might just be me sick of being in this basement, but I've been going out. I've been talking to people. I've been having fun with folks, friends and family. But like I said, upon doing that, I realized for the longest time I've been terminally online, focused on arguing with people about issues that don't matter. Yeah, this election's important. And yes, trying to maintain some level of respect for capitalism, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, freedom in America, all very important topics. All very important things for people to dedicate their lives to. But even as much as you do that, you gotta forgive the people who don't. We all have our little things that we nerd out about, and this is one of my things. You know, you got Batman. Some people have football, and yeah, you know, Constitution and freedom are very important. But at the same time, if you get too deep into it, you get too far down the rabbit hole. You start to lose your connection to people, and they shut down. Right? They see you as an outsider. They see you as something they can't relate to. And therefore, when you try to present them with messages of freedom, right? With messages of a positive political philosophy, with messages of how to improve the country, life, right? That they've already shut you down. So you gotta have one foot in the grave, people. That's all I'm saying. All right. Look, I actually need to step away for a minute. Let me see if I can find something funny on YouTube here. Do, 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 do. Mhm. Where is it? Where is it? Sorry. Oh dear God, what did I do? Well, fuck. You know what? Fuck this. I suck. I really do. I suck, and I apologize for how bad I suck. Let me do this. Let me stream snipe the quartering real quick while I go use the restroom.
And now it says it's 85% certified fresh with a pathetic 39 reviews. If we look at season 1, there was 491 reviews. Now, obviously the embargo just lifted, but I do think it's important to point out that a lot of times when, movie reviewers, TV reviewers, when they don't like something that's woke, they will just not review it because they don't want to be seen as giving a negative review. Who can forget that the popcorn meter from people who actually watch the show sits at 38% this season, yet obviously has not yet debuted, but it is going to be an unmitigated disaster. An unmitigated disaster. By the way, Variety, okay, very, very pro Hollywood nonsense. Sitting down to write this review of Rings of Power Season 2, I could think of a few memorable moments. A swarm of butterflies coalesces into a humanoid figure. A choir of singers communes with the earth in a gorgeous harmony. A horde of spiders close in on a helpless prisoner, their lair so fetid that you can practically smell it. What I
All right. I'm
cannot
back.
think
I'm back.
are of any characters that
Oh
I
damn.
care about or
I never do
any
that, but
emotions
like
I
I said,
feel.
I didn't have a lot prepared. I don't even know what the heck he was talking about. Spiders. That's crazy. Anybody have any topics you want me to cover? Feel free to let me know in the chat. Come in, say hello. But yeah, we have this Kamala Harris and Tim Walz thing tomorrow. And I really don't like talking a lot about election news unless it's like vital. But I do like talking about the media narrative surrounding what's going on in the election. Um, and there's been this ongoing thing about JD Vance and the cat ladies. And we have a new clip, a new audio that has been uh, unearthed and resurfaced and leaked. And we're gonna analyze this clip now. This is JD Vance once again talking about childless teachers this time.
And I think our conservative idea is that parents and families should determine what children learn, what values they are brought up with. So many of the leaders of the left, and I hate to be so personal about this, but they're people without kids try to brainwash the minds of our children. And that really disorients me and it really disturbs me. Randy Weingarten, who's the head of the most powerful teaching union in the country, she doesn't have a single child. If she wants to brainwash and destroy the minds of children, she should have some of her own and leave ours the hell alone. And I think our conservative idea is that parents and families should determine what children learn, what values they are brought up with. So many of the leaders of the left, and I hate to be so personal about this, but they're people without kids try to brainwash the minds of our children. And that really disorients me and it really disturbs me. Randy Weingarten, who's the head of the most powerful teaching union in the country, she doesn't have a single child. If she wants to brainwash and destroy the minds of children, she
Look, my mic is muted. I wonder how long that's been muted. Don't know how that happened. Did I accidentally hit a button? Great. Okay, so let's do this. This is a shit show tonight, folks. I apologize for the shit show. Probably should have just canceled the show, but I don't want to do that to you folks. Anyway, Ford joins list of companies walking back DEI policies, according to CNBC here. Ford Motor Company told employees in an internal community. Here, let's just jump right to the article here. Ford Motor Company is the latest company to walk back some of its commitments to DEI initiatives. The automaker has taken a fresh look at its DEI policies and practices over the past year to take in account the evolving, quote, external and legal environment related to political and social issues, according to an internal communication that was shared by Global Forward employees and posted on to X on Wednesday. Hang on. Okay, by Robbie Starbuck. This just says by an anti-DEI activist. So anyway, let's do this. Shout out to Robbie Starbuck for posting this Ford email here. Robbie Starbuck has been one of the internet's biggest outspoken people on these issues, on trying to get corporate America to realize that these policies drive people away from their brand. Anyway, Ford confirmed the letter was authentic and said it had no additional comment. Ford's move follows Tractor Supply, which one of the first major retailing companies to stop, which is one of the first major companies to stop its DEI efforts. Yeah, Ford's move follows retailer Tractor Supply. Wow, I mixed that all up. As it severed ties earlier this summer with Human Rights Campaign, an LGBTQ plus advocacy group, and retired DEI targets like the boosting the number of employees of color at manager level. Harley Davidson, whose board of directors also includes Ford CEO Jim Farley, also decided last week to stop consulting Human Rights Council's metric for treatment of LGBTQ plus employees and affirmed that it does not have a DEI function. Lowe's joined the efforts earlier this week and noted that it might also make additional changes to policies over time. The companies have cited conservative backlash or changing social and political environments in their announcements. Tractor Supply and Harley also noted a desire to appeal to more rural or conservative-leaning customers. I think you will start to see this move toward politically neutral companies, which to say is that most of these companies didn't really want to be doing this stuff in the first place. Says Liz Hoffman, Semaphor's business and finance editor, said on CNBC Squawk Box earlier Wednesday before the Ford memo was posted. Okay, so in this right here, this paragraph I just read, I want you to pay attention here. Okay. Semaphor's business and finance editor, who's also a contributor to CNBC's Squawk Box, right? In an article on CNBC, right? They're citing themselves in a circle jerk, right? This is to plan in your mind, look, we agree with you, and really they don't. In the memo Wednesday, Farley said the company will not use quotas for minority dealerships or suppliers, adding that it does not have hiring quotas. The automaker will also stop participating in the HRC's Corporate Equality Index as well as other best places to work lists. Human Rights Campaign scores over 1,300 companies annually based on corporate equality measures for LGBTQ plus individuals, including practices like offering spousal medical benefits regardless of sex and having distinct LGBTQ community outreach efforts. Ford in previous years had received a perfect score on their index. One moment, real quick. Need to send a text message. Let's see. Ford Motor Company's short-sighted decisions will have long-term consequences. Human Rights Campaign President Kelly Robinson said in a statement, hastily abandoning. See, this is a threat. They're threatening Ford here. Hastily abandoning efforts that ensure fair, safe, and inclusive work environments is bad for business and leaves Ford's employees and millions of ally consumers behind. Be a shame if gay people didn't buy trucks, right, Ford? Yeah. Be a shame if people just made all of their decisions based solely on these political agenda points. The organization also added that it evaluates every Fortune 500 company on the Equality Index, regardless of whether or not the company submits additional information about its priorities, which means Ford will continue to be scored. As a global company, we will continue to put our effort and resources into taking care of our customers, our team, and our communities versus publicly commenting on the many polarizing issues of the day, Ford said in the statement to employees. There will, of course, be times when we will speak out on core issues if we believe our voice can make a positive difference. Hey, we got Demon's Wrath in the chat over on Rumble. Hey, how's it going, Demon's Wrath? Good seeing you, my man. Good having you around. Again, my apologies for such a crazy show today, but good having you around. All right. Many companies, including automakers such as Ford, amped up their DEI commitments in the aftermath of the murder of George Floyd and Black Lives Matter protests of the summer of 2020, and Ford spoke up about that at the time. We are not interested in superficial actions. This is our moment to lead from the front and fully commit to creating the fair, just, and inclusive culture that our employees deserve. The company said in 2020 in a letter reaffirming its DEI commitment, we cannot turn a blind eye to it or accept some sense of order that's based on oppression. And then, in the wake of the Supreme Court decision to overturn affirmative action in colleges, a growing number of conservative activists on social media have called on companies to stop investing in DEI. I don't think those two things are related. Demon's Wrath says Ford's retarded. Yeah. Let me just say this. This is a must, right? These companies have to do this. This doesn't mean they're not woke. This doesn't mean they say they're not going to continue these policies. But look, they told on themselves when they instituted the policies in the first place, right? They said we need to institute these policies because if we don't, then our unchecked racism would take over. Uh-huh. I think you told on yourself, and now you've hired the people who are gonna let their unchecked racism take over. That's my problem with this. And you could say all day that you're not gonna implement these policies, but these policies get implemented on the micro level. At least that's what they told us when they implemented them. Okay, I have not read this yet. I've been meaning to read this, so let's get into this story. Donald Trump faces a revised indictment in election subversion case. Jack Smith's team obtained a superseding indictment in the Washington case, though it's highly unlikely to proceed to trial ahead of the November 5th election when Trump faces Vice President Kamala Harris. The revised indictment lays out the same 4 charges they brought against the former president last year, but this one focuses on Trump's role as a political candidate seeking re-election rather than the president at the time. And that's important to remember because it was ruled that he had immunity as president. Supreme Court ruled on July 1st that Trump is at least presumptively immune from criminal prosecution. There we go. Judge Tanya Chutkan in Washington has been expected to decide in coming weeks which aspects of the case must be tossed out due to the immunity decision. Attorneys for Trump didn't respond to requests for comment to Reuters. In a statement on Truth Social, Trump said Supreme Court's immunity ruling should lead to the entire case being thrown out, saying Smith rewrote the exact same case in an effort to circumvent the Supreme Court decision. I agree. I agree. If it was legal for him to do it as president and he did it as president, then you can't say, well, he was also this other thing. And so we can charge him with that. No, no, he was immune because he did it as president. Quite simple. This indictment, like the initial one, accuses Trump as a multi-part conspiracy to block the certification of his election to defeat Biden. And I'm not gonna get further into that because they're pretty much just repeating everything I just said. Yes. All right. So I don't know where all y'all are in the country or in the world. Guess you could be anywhere in the world, right? Hell, you might even be watching from the space station for all I know. Shout out to the astronauts who are stranded there because Boeing sucks. But anyway, I don't know where y'all are in the country. But here in the Midwest, we've been in the middle of a heat wave. And I don't know if you folks saw the news story about why we're having a heat wave, why the heat wave is so brutal this time around. Did y'all see this news story? Did y'all hear this? Right? Yeah, I'm doing the Jay Leno thing. Did y'all hear this? Did y'all see this? Yeah. I'm doing the Jay Leno thing because this is insane. Corn sweat. Corn sweat could be making the Midwest heat wave feel muggier. This from the Detroit Free Press via USA Today. Here's a rather unappetizing weather-related phrase that is suddenly circulating on social media. Corn sweat. And it's exactly what it sounds like. The scientific word for it is evapotranspiration, which sounds more sophisticated. A dangerous heat wave that spread across the Midwest, including Michigan, on Tuesday. Journalists were trying to work corn sweat into their reports. You might have never heard of it before unless you're a farmer, but it's a relatively simple concept. Milwaukee Journal Sentinel reported that an acre of corn can give off about 3,000 to 4,000 gallons of water a day, and the extra moisture in the air adds to an already high dew point. So tens of thousands of acres of corn means more moisture in the air. Several Midwest states, Iowa, Illinois, Nebraska, Minnesota, Indiana, Ohio, Kansas, and Wisconsin are also top corn producers. Michigan, which isn't quite as high on the list, has its share of agriculture and is still up there somewhere, adding to the problem. All that water doesn't affect actual temperature, which is in the 90s in southeast Michigan, but the increased humidity certainly can boost how hot it feels, which by Tuesday afternoon, National Weather Service said it was like 100 degrees out. All right. So there you go. We're having a heat wave, not because of climate change. No, it's climate change. It's clearly climate change, right? No, it's corn sweat. It's corn sweat. Better eat the bugs. All right. In other news, we've got methamphetamine disguised as watermelons seized at the Mexican border in San Diego. Truckload of methamphetamine disguised as watermelons. Let's see. Methamphetamine valued more than $5 million was found August 16th when a cargo aboard a tractor trailer from Mexico was unloaded for an inspection, the agency said in a statement. Among real watermelons, officers found 1,220 packages wrapped in paper colored to look like watermelon skins. Total weight of the packages amounted to 4,587 pounds, and testing determined that the contents were methamphetamine. The truck driver was turned over to Homeland Security. Look at that. Look at that. That doesn't even look like a watermelon to me. Can you guys see that? Let me see if I can. There we go. Can you see how big that is? Can you see how fake that looks? I mean, come on, cartels. You can do better than that. You could do better than that, cartels. All right. Also from the AP, we have this news story. A Georgia mayor faces felony charges after investigators say he stashed alcohol in a ditch for prisoners. Okay, yeah. Mayor Benjamin Cranford. Yeah, Demon's Wrath. Looks like a watermelon from Wish. Oh, yes. So, yeah, Mayor Ben Crawford here. Benji Crawford indicted on charges that he left a bottle of gin in a ditch for the state prison work crew. This heroes don't always wear capes, folks. To me, this should not be a felony, but who knows? The mayor of a small Georgia town. He was indicted on Wednesday and arrested by Georgia Bureau of Investigation. He faces felony charges of furnishing prohibitive items to inmates and attempt to commit a felony. He drove to a store on June 3rd, bought a bottle of Seagram's Extra Dry, and left it in a ditch along Georgia 150 in Thompson in the path of a work crew of state prisoners from the Jefferson County Correctional Institution. Thompson police on June 6th asked GBI to investigate the claim that Cranford gave alcohol to inmates. Agents arrested Cranford at Thompson City Hall after a council meeting and led him away in handcuffs. WRDW TV reported. Cranford did not answer questions from reporters after he was released from the county jail Wednesday on $5,000 bail. Court records didn't list a lawyer for Cranford as of Thursday. He has not yet appeared before a judge. Other city officials declined to comment. As we understand, the charges in this case are not related to his duties as an elected official. We don't have to comment, said Jason Smith, the local community development director who serves as city spokesperson. He could face suspension from office until charges are resolved. If a panel recommends it to Governor Brian Kemp, the charges harm Cranford's ability to act as mayor. Some officials have been suspended when they have faced felony charges that were not directly related to their office. Cranford won election last year, beating an incumbent, Kenneth Usury, a paving contractor before he was elected. Cranford later settled a lawsuit that alleged he had tried to hide assets from a bonding company that was on the hook to pay some of the company's debts. Okay, I don't see why that was relevant to the story, so to speak. So yeah, that's our reading for today. Hey man, let Benji Cranford off. Let the prisoners have a little swill of booze once in a blue moon. Jeez. Even if they're, the scumbags of the earth, it doesn't hurt anyone to let them have 10 minutes of fun. You remember the scene from Shawshank Redemption, right? When they was working on the roof and Andy got him, traded his accounting services for some beer for his workmates. Let him have a little bit of booze. Anyway, so have you seen this this next thing? You probably have. This is Don Lemon's way to promote his new book. Now look, I started off the show talking about how horrible I am at promotion, how I don't package things up well, how I'm not very good at marketing whatsoever. But even I know that this is cringe as fuck.
Who's gonna tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs? Those black jobs. One of those black jobs. Those black jobs. One of those black jobs. Who's gonna
Not only is the music cringe, using political speeches in music is just a bad idea all around, but this idea that someone's going to be overjoyed to find a 2-bit journalist's book on the corner in New York City outside Radio City Music Hall. Look, you want to promote your book, then do it like a TikTok would do it, right? Like Have a hidden camera, film some random person picking it up later, and then come up and give them $100 bill if they keep it. Like, do something like that. All right. Let's see. Let's do this. We've got this clip from Rob Schneider that I saw earlier. Thought it might be interesting to play on the show because he's saying the shit that I say all the time. He's got a heckler in the audience, right? Who's upset that he's talking politics at a comedy show. Now look. Well, I'll let him say his piece, and then I'll expand on the thoughts I'm having right now. Okay, so the sellout part is the key to that, right? That wouldn't be funny if he's just like, yeah, you just get on stage. No, you have to sell out. Like if your ideas are more popular, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of popular bad fucking ideas right now, as we covered earlier in the show. But if your ideas were really meant to latch on and grow in people and the way you present them. Now, granted, I'm speaking as someone who admittedly said my viewership was dwindling earlier in the show. Like my viewership is dwindling. So apparently I'm not one of those people whose ideas are latching on to a huge audience. But hey, I found a platform. I'm on the platform. I'm going to speak my mind on the platform. And he's right. Damn you if you're trying to shut me down or shut me up. Because the currently 7 people who are watching this across X, Rumble, and YouTube have a right to hear it. And thank you all. Thank all 7 of you for being here. It makes this fucking worth it for me. But, we covered the Ford thing earlier, right? And I was like, okay, so, there are times and places for politics. Stand-up comedy, movies, depends on how they're presented. I do think stand-up comedy is definitely a place for politics. This is why I don't watch Amy Schumer. I don't like her politics. But she's very popular in certain segments of the population, I think. She's respected among some of her peers. She's also a huge fucking joke to most of us who actually enjoy stand-up comedy. I would never try to shut her up. I would never try to shut her down. I would not show up at her show and then boo her. This is kind of what I was talking about earlier when I was like, get out in the real world and connect with people. Right? There's plenty of shit for conservatives to do. There's plenty of shit for libertarians to do. We don't have to go do left-wing shit. We don't have to go to their restaurants. Right? There's a pizza place here locally that's got rainbow and BLM flags in front. I don't go there. Not because I hate those things. I just hate supporting people who are into the whole indoctrination, let's be a part of the groupthink stuff. Wow, I totally had all my links in the wrong order because I should have brought the next one up while I was talking about J.D. Vance and talking about the media narratives. And while I was talking earlier about the CNN thing, there's a There's now a clip of Kamala Harris talking to a reporter one-on-one. You guys want to see it? Check this out.
On a different front, Axios this week reported that President Trump, if he gets a second term, will sort of dial back, for lack of a better term, DEI programs that the Biden administration has put in forth. Obviously, I know you disagree with that. I obviously believe that you don't want him to get a second term. That said, if that does happen, what do you think that would do to race relations in this country?
Well, let me say we're going to win.
Okay, so the question is, right? So this is another reason I fucking hate the media, right? Is he said a whole bunch of bullshit about Trump. But the actual question is, what do you think about race relations in this country if DEI is scaled back?
So it's not going to happen. But I think that, listen, we today is actually, I believe, an anniversary in terms of Dr. King, right? And I was just in Selma, and we celebrated, well, acknowledged the 59th anniversary of Bloody Sunday. I think it's really important that we as Americans always embrace our history.
Embrace
the parts
history.
that we're proud of and the parts that we're not proud of, but that we can't forget. And we should all agree that we should teach history. We should learn history if we're to ever have an accurate idea of where we want to go and where we don't want to go in the future. And that means
What do you think will happen to race relations? We should teach history.
also acknowledging the importance of diversity. It means acknowledging the importance of
And the ways in which we
of
do that is
the
to
fact that
acknowledge
everyone should have
importance.
equal opportunity to compete and equity. And then, of course, inclusion. That,
Oh,
hey,
and then
let's look around the room and
she
see
gives the
who's not
definition
here
of
and did they
diversity, the
leave the door
definition of
open?
equity, and the definition of inclusion.
On a different
So this is why tomorrow night she's not going to be on stage alone. They're not going to let her do it. I did want to real quick bring this up because, again, when I talk about getting out in the real world, right, it's so that, the internet is such a caricature of culture, right? The internet's where everyone's voice is 10 times louder. But I saw this clip and it made me, I had two reactions to this next clip. And let me bring it up before I tell you what my reactions are. So this is three young girls sitting outside of a Taylor Swift concert in Sydney, Australia. Sydney night 3, my reaction to Taylor singing Exile, parentheses, also known as the song that saved my life. So again, I ask you to go out in the real world so that you can contrast people like this with, I don't know, the other people buying a soda at the gas station. And ask yourself, is this person as unhinged as the person I saw on Mild's Culture Plate the other day? Demon's Wrath says cringe. Yes, and this is another thing is, don't get me wrong, I just saw another clip that was like 200 random women singing along to a Taylor Swift song. I didn't want to play it because of the copyright. But it's just as cringe. And so, kind of ignore that when I say this, that I would bet most of the people inside that stadium, they're just having a good time. They're not having an emotional fucking breakdown. Demon's Wrath says that's trauma or attention seeking, probably both. And yeah, I would also say that, yeah, there are going to be a number of people inside who are having an emotional reaction. And look, I have emotional reactions to music that I identify with. The problem is exactly what Demon's Wrath said, attention seeking. To film myself reacting to music that I'm experiencing third hand out, it's just there's layers to this shit, right? It's not a rule of thumb, but there's layers to it. And once you've gone this deep into the crust of attention seeking, once you've gone this deep into the crust of TikTok and fandom. And yes, this is a man who is in front of 40 years of Batman comics telling you that sometimes fandom can go too far. But really, it's more the filming it, right? Nah. Okay, and here's the other thing. If this song saved your life, why are you screaming no? Trauma. Gotcha. All right, so there's that. Let's see. We got anything else? One last clip. One last clip. And I wanted to bring it up because I had a thought. About this. This is, I think we covered it on the last show. This woman who's suing Disney, or this man who's suing Disney because his wife died, and Disney is trying to get the court to force them go to a private arbitrator because the man had signed an agreement in a trial of Disney Plus stating that he would never sue Disney. But yes, his wife had died because she had an allergic reaction at a Disney restaurant after being told that her food did not contain nuts or dairy. Anyway, so look, I gave my review of the Deadpool Wolverine movie. I really appreciate the ways in which that franchise does fourth wall breaks and inside jokes and jokes about its own industry and takes the piss out of itself. But this was filmed at Disney. I want you to listen carefully to this joke that Deadpool says and ask yourself, is this in good taste?
And headed to the big battle. Cinderpool was late because he had to read every single page in the terms and conditions when he signed up for Disney Plus. I don't get it. Yeah, they do. It's fun. And headed to the big battle.
All right. So, is it in bad taste that when you're being sued for someone's death, you joke about it? I wouldn't be, not a good look, Disney. Not a good look. Now, granted, I just said stand-up comedy, free speech, expression, all that. Let's not ban it. But dear Lord, and the people in the crowd laughing, whew, people, you are financially supporting the corporation that's doing that. Look, I'm not gonna lie. In my older age now, my midlife crisis has manifested in the form of roller coaster enthusiasm. So I'm kind of becoming a roller coaster nerd. I will not be partaking in Disney roller coasters. I have banned Disney in so many forms from my life. I have excised Disney in so many forms, and look, you just got me to admit that I did watch the Wolverine Deadpool movie, and I do have some of the Marvel movies down here. So no, I haven't completely banned it, but I definitely have tried my best to keep Disney out of my life. Yes, yes. Big shout out to that actor. That was funny as hell. And I hope you don't lose your job for that shit. But I do hope Disney at least puts out an apology to the family or whatever. Or God, for God's sakes, settle with the guy. Settle with the guy. All right. So again, I kind of had like I said, I just all day today, I was looking for topics to talk about on the show today. Wasn't finding a whole lot politically, wasn't finding a whole lot of weird news other than what we covered, wasn't finding a whole lot of interesting viral videos. So yeah, I tried my best to prepare for the show, but hey, it is what it is. We work with what we can work with, and I gave you the show that I had available today. Thank you for stopping by. Please at least click the thumbs up. You don't have to actually like the video, but please at least give me the thumbs up to help with the algorithm. And maybe this Saturday, 6 p.m. Central, same bat time, same bat channel, wherever you're watching me right now, you can come back in, join me in the chat, watch this whole thing again, and maybe we'll get some interesting news or interesting perspectives between now and then. Keep your eyes open, folks. All right. Until then, please, if you're new here, click that like, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, hit that bell for notifications to know when I'm going live next, which is, 6 p.m. Central, Saturday, just like I just said. All right. Down in the description are links to all my social media if I should need to reschedule previously aforementioned 6 p.m. Saturday show. Those who follow me on those social media channels will know about it first. And any other time that I need to communicate outside of the live stream, it'll be on those social media platforms. So feel free to follow me on all of those social media channels. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Outlast those haters. Don't get any on you. And if you do, rub that shit in real good. And I'll catch you next time on Mild's Culture Plate. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Good night.